So I'm back to it. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you always watch full video.
The city of Philadelphia has a long and dark history of violence, and in many cases this brand of brutality comes courtesy of the city's many historic gangs. Whether we're talking about the Italian mafia of the old days or the modern street gangs, Philly has been a treacherous place from the very start, and a big reason for the city's cutthroat mentality is its crushing poverty, as Philly has for a long time been the poorest big city in America. This poverty particularly affects Philly's black and Latino communities, whose poverty rates are about double compared to the white residents, despite them making up a clear majority of the population. This is also reflected in the city's significant residential segregation, the poor black communities of Philly being amongst the most segregated in the entire of America, with only Chicago having an even higher rate when it comes to America's big cities. And of course, when there's such significant pockets of poverty, serious crime will usually follow, with gun violence in Philly being heavily concentrated amongst the poorest communities. Growing up in these
It be like that. It be like that because it's like when you're trying to do good, you're trying to get a job, trying to do the right thing, and then life just keep no. Sadly, what else is there for you to do? Hang outside, go to your friend's house, try to. Hopefully, y'all can put two and two together and get four and get something to eat. You feel me? And then stuff like that. And then it continues on because, like, again, if everybody's in poverty, that means nobody's doing good. I mean, it's nobody's house that you can go to not be in down bad as much as you are. And if you can't eat, you can't feed your kids. That's gonna make you do something that you don't need to be doing to go feed yourself or you and them kids. And it's even worse if it's you and kids, because ain't nobody for them to sit back and let their kids starve. So eventually you're gonna end up doing what you gotta do to feed you and your family. That's life, man. Like, does that make it right? All the poverty, all the crime and stuff? No, but bruh, if these jobs will start giving people like more opportunities, then there probably will be less poverty, less people committing crime because you ain't gonna commit no crime while you at work. You at work.
active war zones can leave the youth there scarred with deep and long-lasting mental health issues. Some may turn to desperate measures to escape the surroundings, while others end up getting sucked into the violence themselves, a survival mechanism in a kill or be killed environment. This leads to some youths getting consumed by the idea of revenge, while others may even get addicted to the violence itself and actually find pleasure and release in participating in the killing. This is the environment where Noah Scurry was born on May the 30th, 2007, his birth eerily coinciding with the filming of the movie The Dark Knight, the second installment of director Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy, which would introduce the late actor Heath Ledger's critically acclaimed performance as the Joker. This new, much more dark and twisted rendition of the legendary Batman villain would later become Noah's alter ego in the streets of Philly. Not much is known about Noah's early life, but based on what we do know, he appeared to have a relatively happy childhood. Noah's loving parents, Megan and Ron, did their best to provide for their young son. They would work hard to keep him fed and well clothed as a child. Always dripping in the latest Ralph Lauren, Noah was a stylish kid whose parents clearly cared for him and wanted the best for him, and his parents would do their best to keep Noah busy and focused on positive hobbies, as he would seemingly practice many different sports, from martial arts to baseball, and of course basketball, where he would eventually excel the most, becoming his high school team's top scorer. His
Sadly, when it kind of life, you can only teach and show somebody the right path so much. Like, especially, hey, even if you're their parent, but eventually, especially like when you really think about it, if you're outside and you're at school, you're around your friends more than you are with your parents. School is like 8 hours. Then you come home, you go in the house, do a little homework if you're gonna do that. Then go outside. You with your friends like 16 hours throughout the day, or probably a little less than that, or like at least 12, 12 to like 14 hours throughout the day. You're gonna eventually fall in with your friends. And sometimes that can be a good thing, depending on what type of group that you're hanging with. A lot of times that'd be the bad thing.
parents would also make sure that Noah's intellectual side was equally stimulated.
Like,
He would show
he
great
got
promise in school as well.
good opportunity, bro.
He
He
would score the highest result in his school's SATs. Something even more impressive when you consider the fact his high school, the Samuel Fells, is among the worst performing schools in Pennsylvania. This is an interesting aspect, as having covered many demonic gangsters who seemingly came from violent upbringings that thrust them into the violence before they really knew better, Noah apparently had a lot of love and support and was nurtured to excel at life. However, Noah was also clearly influenced by by street culture since a young age, and while there are no signs that his family was in any way affiliated with gangs, he can often be seen throwing up what seem like gang signs in his early childhood pictures. It's not clear if Noah at the time was simply imitating what he saw other people doing, or if he was actually already affiliated with gangs, but there were numerous...
He was for sure imitating what he's seen. This is what I see my favorite rapper do, this is what I'm gonna do.
Street gangs operating in the area that Noah lived at the time of his death, and eventually he would allegedly become affiliated with a gang called the Whackers from the Lawncrest section of the city, who go by the name Pavement Boys, or PB, and are repped by rappers like No Pix and Rel Sosa. Noah was also seemingly close with gangs from the Frankfurt section of the city, particularly gangs called Parkside and Certified Clappers, or Double C. The biggest rivals of these gangs will be the gangs called M24 and their younger generation called Fast Break, who hail primarily from the Olney section of the city. The Fast Break have become well known in Philly drill culture recently after their members allegedly killed Philly's most well-known drill rapper, YBC Dull, in August 2024. His killers allegedly being as young as 14 years old, with Zakeem Blake, who had gone missing from his parents a year earlier, and 16-year-old Aiden Waters, who was also a former talented track and field runner, although he never featured on the cover of the ESPN magazine, as some pages would falsely report based on a custom cover likely made by his parents. Nor was he the national champion on the 1500 meters in 2015, although he did come up third place. With all this just going to show you that being a promising athlete isn't quite enough to stop a young man being sucked into the violent life of the Philly streets. But anyway, growing up in an active war zone, Noah Scurry would be no stranger to gun violence growing up. In 2016, when Noah was only 9 years old, his cousin would be gunned down in the Mayfair neighborhood, located only about 3 miles east from Noah's home, where he would ultimately end up losing his life.
The search is on for the gunman who opened fire, taking the life of a 17-year-old boy. The triple shooting, which happened right across from a playground, also sent 2 other people to the hospital with critical injuries.
That surveillance video captured the 3 victims hanging outside of this corner store behind me at Hawthorne and Barnett shortly before this shooting. It actually happened here down this alley, which does border Sterling Street. 17-year-old Quantico Brunson Moten was killed. 2 other young men remain in critical condition. Surveillance video shows Quantico Brunson Moten, the 2 other victims, and 2 more people standing outside the corner grocery store last night. A white car pulled up and a man dressed all in black got out and walked down Hawthorne. A little while later, the group followed in that direction. Police say it was here in this nearby alley that shots were fired. 17-year-old Quantico was shot in the torso, as was a 16-year-old victim. Back on the surveillance video, you can see the man run back to the idling white car outside the corner store. Quantico was killed. Today, his father washed away the blood left at the scene.
We kept our son close, and we kept his friends close.
That's crazy, dog. That's crazy because that dude who got the car, it looked like, even though it was all black, you can't see his face, but from the figure, whatever, that looked like that wasn't no kid. That looked like that was a grown man. And you knocked down a kid, bro.
All his mom and pop all day.
The store owner and friends identified this young man as Quantico. This is video of him inside the corner store just before the shooting that would claim his life. His parents said he excelled in sports and was well liked.
He was silly all the time. He was just silly all the time.
Things would begin to ramp up around 2020 as the COVID pandemic would bring a spree of violence all over America, including Philadelphia, where the already high murder rate would spike to the level of the 90s when the crack epidemic was intensifying the gang wars. In December 2020, Noah's good friend, 14-year-old Tamer Timms, also known as Tartar, was gunned down in Olney, less than 2 miles away from Noah's home.
Well, deadly gun violence continues to rise in Philadelphia with more and more young lives cut short. Last night, a 14-year-old boy became the latest child killed. Action reporter Jacqueline Lee is live in the only section of the city tonight with more on the investigation into this deadly incident and the devastating statistics. Jacqueline.
Well, Rick, you know, we cover so many shootings. Sometimes it's easy to forget to see the humanity in it. But this was a 14-year-old boy. This is someone's son. This is someone's friend. And anti-violence advocates are saying these killings are creating a culture of fear in the city. Family members describe 14.
That be these YNs, bro. Like they don't know no better, so they don't care. Cause why would you care when you don't know what's better for you? It's like they're super easily influenced with the music videos. That's why, like, when it comes to music videos that have a gang of tooties in them, They think, hey, this is cool. This what I want to do. No, it's not what you want to do. What you want to do is go get you some money. What you want to do is go start you a business. What you want to do is travel the world and go see something, go learn something. Because hanging out on the block is not it.
Year-old Tamir Timms as the life of the party, a star basketball and football player.
He was an outgoing, fun kid, like the crack jokes. This was a regular kid, a regular 14-year-old child living his life. My son didn't deserve this.
That's why his mom Regina and other family members are puzzled as to why he was shot in the chest and back on the 5900 block of North Masher Street Thursday night. He later died at Albert Einstein Medical Center.
I see this every day. I see it every day. It never really clicked until it happened to me. Kind of, I ain't been asleep really yet.
His brother says Timms was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
I don't feel real.
Sadly, many families are facing this reality. The 6 ABC data journalism team found that shootings involving children are up 70% this year in Philadelphia.
Like Noah, Tamer was a very talented basketball player who was also known by the nickname 32, and following his passing, Noah's father would post on his social media how Noah had changed his jersey number to 32 in Tamer's honor, promising to always play in his memory. But shockingly, Noah's father, Ron Scurry, would make a post revealing that Noah had actually lost 5 friends in less than a year, showing just how out of control the gun violence in Philly had gotten at this point and how much it was personally affecting Noah. But unfortunately, that wouldn't be the end of it, because only a few months later he would lose yet another friend, with his father posting how his son had lost 6 friends to violence and saying that he can see the hurt in his son's eyes. 16-year-old Kari Simmons, also known as Car or Ree, would be killed in a senseless triple shooting at a rec center in West Philadelphia that would also leave 2 15-year-olds injured.
And now a community remembers a teen gunned down last week. And Dave, this is another victim of this senseless violence that's plaguing our city.
Jason, a big turnout tonight at the Christie Recreation Center at 55th and Christian as an entire community came out to mourn Kyree Simmons and to hopefully start the healing process. Hundreds of balloons were released over this West.
What they should do, start raiding. Philly start, mind you, I'm not from this, so I don't know what they be doing, but they're not. Start raiding. Mind you, more than likely these kids, they're, I ain't saying like the one that passed, but the one that's doing it, they're more likely in some crews. They're more likely in a gang. Raid these gangs, take these little niggas to jail, especially the ones that have catch them with pistols. Raise the the charge that you're giving. Cause look, again, we just recently did a video. A dude. He even though he was drunk, whatever, or faded, whatever, intoxicated, but still, like, again, you know what you're doing. Y'all seen that video? Y'all seen how heated I was? He got 7 years. 7 years, right? So mind you, so in Philly, if they giving people these low amount of years for catching for having guns or catching bodies, raise that up. Raise the years that you're giving people. And do raids. Now, all these gangbangers are gone. They're in jail. That'll get rid of some of this crime. I ain't gonna say all because
Center Tuesday evening to remember 16-year-old Kyree Simmons, who was gunned down last week on this very same basketball court.
He was just here doing what all of us do. Come to Sherwood, play basketball, and just be kids.
Kyree's senseless murder touched off calls for a citywide action plan after the death of yet another young man with so much promise.
We love Kyree more than anything. That was my mommy's baby. That was her world. He was our little brother.
He did not deserve to die like that.
Police and Kyree's family say he was an innocent victim, gunned down by 4 men who, for some unknown reason, opened fire into the playground.
Following Kyree's murder, local news would report how the police were warning that the violence in the city was being fueled by social media, where gangs were going back and forth dissing each other.
After over 100 murders already this year, investigators are focusing on ways.
I said it before, them diss songs, because that's what they're doing. It's diss songs. They're following each other, DMing each other, talking smack, bro. That's not gonna get it. But they see it. They see these rappers doing that. They see these rappers making diss tracks, making all this money from it, going viral for it, getting likes and comments and all this other stuff for it. Diss tracks is nothing but public humiliation. When you do that, somebody's going to come see you about that song.
To prevent more violence,
It's been proven too many
including
times
monitoring
for people not to know that.
where police say shootings and murders are being fueled by hot-tempered Instagram posts between rival groups or individuals. Social media beefs turn violent.
Now,
following each other,
these groups just have the ability to use.
Better do what they be doing in UK. In UK, they own niggas' head, boy. They niggas can't do nothing. What?
Instagram and go.
They still be doing things. Don't get it twisted, but they can't do nothing like this though.
We're very concerned about.
Commissioner Daniel Outlaw says social media is fueling a lot of these conflicts, and they're now having detectives monitor those conversations.
Life has turned into one big reality TV show. You don't have to be a celebrity or with a following or with cameras in order to advertise your life or, document every moment of what we're saying and what we're doing.
Advocates and officials say parents can play a role in monitoring their teens' social media usage. Instagram shared tips for parents in a new guide released today. Pastor Carl Day says talking to teens can spark change.
A lot of times I think that we don't think about how polarizing social media is.
Instagram's restrict mode allows your teen to keep an eye on a potential bully. They can't tell they've been restricted, and posted comments aren't visible to anyone else but the person who wrote it.
Back in maybe our day, whatever our day may have been, if you had a problem with somebody, it was just between you, them, and probably the few people that knew. Now you got 6,000 followers, so in everybody's mind, all 6,000 people see you trying to play me. So now this is the way we have to handle things.
Noah was also familiar with the other side, as his friends weren't only dying in the gang war, but also allegedly doing the killing. Only a few weeks after the murder of Kari, 18-year-old Justin Porter, also known as Jay or Five, would be gunned down in the Frankfurt neighborhood.
The violence continues in Frankfurt, where an 18-year-old was shot and killed. It happened around 5 this evening on the 4700 block of Oxford Avenue. No one has been arrested in this shooting either.
Justin was allegedly affiliated with the M24 gang, and following his death, a popular rapper called Brady, who's affiliated with the Certified Clappers and Parkside, would drop a diss song called 5 on It, which references the classic song Got 5 on It by Loonies, whilst also using that phrase to diss 5. This was followed by another Double C rapper called Hardy dropping a song titled Red Rum, where he would diss 5 more directly, saying that he died because he didn't have a gun and that they sped off on the police after the murder. Another popular rapper from the M24 side, Lil Muck, can be seen wearing a custom tribute shirt to 5 on his social media, and would release a response to the diss song called On 5, which is both a tribute song to 5 and a diss towards Parkside and the Certified Clappers. In Muck's Instagram promo for the song's music video, other M24 members could be seen dissing Parkside, while Parkside members would seemingly taunt Muck about 5's death. One YouTuber would even claim that 5 was killed by a specific person, a rapper from Parkside called Qua4, who is in fact a good friend of Noah Scurry, with even Noah's father posting a picture of the two together. However, the murder of 5, aka Justin Porter, would remain unsolved. Unfortunately, the killing in Philly would only get worse during 2021, reaching an all-time high. In October, 16-year-old Arjon Jackson, also known as AJ or A-Roy, would be brutally killed near his home after he had just finished his work shift at McDonald's, with his twin sister being taken home in a lift.
We began with a call to action after another teenager is shot and killed
raid these houses,
in the
bro.
streets of Philadelphia.
You gotta raid these houses, man.
I'm Jessica Cartalia. 16-year-old Ajon AJ Jackson was shot outside of East Oak Lane home when police say he was ambushed. He and his twin sister had just finished their shift at McDonald's. Jasmine Payute is live at police headquarters with how gun violence is affecting principals trying to keep their students safe.
See, like, look, you see how Biden giving all this money, all these billions and billions of dollars away, send $1 million, probably $5 million to Philly. Give them money for more police officers, cameras on like throughout the city. Really that cameras and more police officers. That will probably help, and for sure jobs, like a lot of things that a lot more, I guess, well-off cities have. Like there's certain cities you go to, they got the like Washington, they have the things where like if a gunfire goes off, it sensors around the city. They know exactly where it came from. They know exactly where it came from because of the sensor. It's gonna ping in a certain area, so therefore a police officer knows exactly where to go. They need that everywhere.
Yuki, Jess, good evening. It goes without saying, there's a gun violence crisis in Philadelphia.
Once again, the Parkside rappers would diss the dead mercilessly, this time borrowing a chapter from YBC Dull's playbook, who had made a name for himself by dissing his dead enemy, who was also killed after finishing his shift working at McDonald's too. In the music video for Hardy's song Red Rum, his friends can be seen tossing out French fries, something that YBC Dull had also done. And in his song On Hound, Hardy would rap how M24 hadn't got back for someone who died whilst eating fries, before mentioning how they were leading by 2-0, an apparent reference to the murders of both Five and AJ. Hardy would even film himself in court, confronting an M24 member and dissing AJ to their face.
Look, it's me and my man B, and me and did it. And you know who did that to your man. Shut up. Shut the up. He's a young boy. I slapped on the back of his head right now on live. You're not trying to lock in. Come on, let's lock in.
I hate niggas that do this. You're filming, bro. You're recording in court. In court, bro. You want a nigga to go back. You want a nigga to go to jail. You want somebody to get some more time. You want a nigga to violate his probation. Yeah, these type of niggas you gotta stay away from, bro.
Let's lock in.
Nigga want to do it for the ground.
We can lock in real quick. Use a ball.
I hate niggas that do that. You want to do it for the gram ass nigga.
Watch out, bro. Y'all just see me smack that. Y'all just see me.
Coming into 2022, the murder rate would fortunately begin declining, but that would be a small consolation to the people living in the city's war zones, where murders would continue to happen at a steady rate. And in August, it was time for Noah Scurry to experience yet another loss, as his friend, 18-year-old Hesea Adams, would be killed during a particularly violent night in Philly.
Just this morning, Philadelphia police are looking for up to half a dozen shooters in cases that began yesterday afternoon, carried through in the overnight hours, and there has been shooting as of just a few hours ago. Take a look at this video. This is from a deadly shooting on Bouvier Street. There were over 40 shell casings on the ground here. Officers say someone shot 2 people at this scene. One of them did die. The other is listed in critical condition this morning. And then in broad daylight yesterday, around 5 o'clock, right near this Dunkin' Donuts on Girard Avenue, 3 men were shot. One, a 65-year-old whose sister says he was driving by the scene in his pickup truck when a stray bullet from the shooting went through the windshield into his arm.
Hesea was known as an outgoing person with a real big heart who did anything for the ones that he loved. But allegedly, he was also known as a feared shooter in the streets who went by the menacing nickname Bad News. By this point, Noah Scurry had lost as many as 7 close friends to the streets, and as his father said, he could see the pain and suffering in his son from these losses. Perhaps unsurprisingly then, from here, Noah would begin to undergo a dark transformation, vowing to get revenge for his friends and beginning his own plots to wage war in the streets and cause others the very same devastation that he had endured. And it would be soon after this that he would take on his terrifying alter ego, becoming the Joker.
Damn, boy. Condolences to all the people that was lost in this video.